You know what? I think it would be really nice if we took a trip back in time, all the way back to the year 1968, the year that one of the greatest science fiction movies ever made hit the big screen. That's right, I'm talking about none other than Planet of the Apes.
Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
Looking back on it now with modern eyes, it may surprise you that this movie was actually a big hit, and it spawned 4 sequels, a live-action TV show, a Saturday morning cartoon, and even a Simpsons musical.
I hate every ape I see, from chimpanzee to chimpanzee.
Now, let's continue our time-traveling adventure by headed to the year 2001, where, for some reason, director Tim Burton thought it would be a great idea to remake Planet of the Apes and reimagine it for a new generation. And by reimagining it, I mean make a movie so bad that it's widely considered one of his worst, and managed to set the Apes franchise back a full decade. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Do you like movies that feature borderline bestiality? Well, then I've got a movie made just for you. Grab a horse and stay out of the water, folks, as we take a spoiler-heavy look at Planet of the Apes 2001.
I'm so excited!
So, Planet of the Apes starts like any great movie, on a space station full of chimpanzees. And this is where we meet Air Force Captain Leo Davidson, the man in charge of training apes how to fly spaceships. And this is the space station Oberon, where the chimps learn to paint, play games, and everything is the color gray for some reason. I guess it's so that they can hide the poop stains from the chimpanzees throwing feces, but I'm really not sure.
Throw your poop! Hurl your feces!
Anyway, Leo is called to the bridge of the space station, where he's told that a large electromagnetic storm, which I am certain is a real thing and in no way made up for this movie, is heading right for the space station. So, in order to check it out, they decide to have one of their chimps, Pericles, fly into the storm to get readings on it. However, it doesn't take long for things to go terribly wrong, and Leo heads out in his own ship to find Pericles and bring him back. But sadly, Leo suffers the same fate and ends up crash landing on a mysterious planet.
I hope they can find a little black box.
After swimming to safety, Leo barely has time to get his bearings before he comes across a group of humans who are frantically running from something that's chasing them in the trees. And after a chase through the jungle, Leo is surprised to see that he's being chased by talking apes who ride horses. After being captured, the apes take Leo to Ape City, where we see that the apes have made a society that mirrors that of Earth, complete with barbers, basketball teams, and creepy individuals who sell children to the highest bidder. Nickelodeon! And it's here that we meet the cartoonishly evil General Thade, who hates humans and who's played by Tim Roth. And just real quickly, I'd like to pause right here to mention that Tim Roth actually turned down the part of Professor Snape in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone so that he could make this movie.
Dude, that sucks.
Well, look on the bright side, Tim. There's always She-Hulk Season 2. This is also where we meet Ari, a kind-hearted chimpanzee who is convinced that humans should not be mistreated. So much so that she decides to buy Leo and another human girl, whose name I can't remember, but honestly it doesn't matter, so that they can work as servants in her father's home. Later that evening, in the home of Senator Sandar, a big dinner party is being held for the heads of state, where we get to see some of more of the upper class of ape society, and where General Thade gets to demonstrate why he's the perfect ape to open a new Globo Gym location. Later that night, after the party is over, Thade goes to Ari's room to confess that he has feelings for her. But it's too late for that, because by now it's become very obvious to the audience that she only has one thing on her mind. Leo then manages to escape with others in tow, and as they make their way out of the city, we get to see more of the rich tapestry that makes up ape society, like underage drinking and child imprisonment.
Get out of your cave!
After escaping into the jungle, Marky Mark and his new funky bunch make it back to the pond where Leo's ship crashed, and it's here that we encounter a very important piece of foreshadowing.
What's wrong? Apes are afraid of the water. They can't swim.
We drowned.
Leo then recovers a distress beacon from his ship, and he's surprised to see that the Oberon crew has already arrived on the planet and is looking for him. So everyone begins walking towards the signal to find them. Back at Ape City, Thade is visiting his very sick father, who is just moments away from dying, and who is played by the lead of the 1968 Planet of the Apes, Charlton Heston.
Damn you all to hell!
As he's about to take his final breath, he tells Thade the shocking truth about the apes, that they have not always been the top species, and that they were once subservient to men. Then, like any good father, he gives his son a firearm as a gift.
Wait a minute. I thought guns were bad.
False.
In fact, did you know that Jesus and Moses used guns to conquer the Romans?
While on the search for the space station crew, Leo and the rest come across a slight obstacle, a small company of guerrilla soldiers that are camping close to a nearby river. Wanting to get to his crew as fast as possible, Leo decides that he will cross the river instead of going around it, but he will use the cover of darkness to sneak past them, which honestly seems like a great plan, except that he then decides to shoot a signal flare which lights up the entire area, making him very easy to see.
That's dumb. That is a dumb, stupid, dumb idea.
Early the next morning, Leo finally finds the space station, and he's surprised to learn that it actually crash-landed on the planet thousands of years ago while trying to find him in the electrical storm that brought him to this planet.
What?
Everyone also learns that the chimps that were on the space station rapidly evolved and took over, thus causing apes to be the top species on the planet. And honestly, at this point, the movie really starts to overstay its welcome. So much so that if you do watch it again, you're probably going to end up staring at your watch, just hoping that it would end. So I'm just going to wrap it up really quick and say, the humans decide to rise up against the apes, there's a big fight at the end, Thade gets captured, Leo leaves the planet, and then there's a lame attempt at a twist ending that makes no sense, but nobody cares. The end. And at the end of the day, the movie we end up with is a hollow shell of the original, with a bunch of bored actors playing characters that are as boring as the script, and poor set design that looks lazy and really cheap. In my humble opinion, the worst kind of movie remake is one where no one seems to care that it's being made. And with the exception of Tim Roth, who gives one of the most over-the-top performances you will ever see, everyone seems to be incredibly bored. Well, except for Mark Wahlberg, who just seems like he's out of his depth at this point in his career.
It's my ship.
Now, as of present day, I think Mark Wahlberg has managed to prove himself as a very capable and reliable actor. He's been part of some truly great movies, worked with some legendary directors, and is a 2-time Oscar nominee. But if you would have told me back in 2001 that his career would have ended up this way, well, honestly, I would have just laughed in your face. This entire movie, he has a look on his face that makes him look lost, kind of like Gal Gadot in her Wonder Woman movies.
Hello, no!
He's very flat, stiff, and just obviously uncomfortable. Honestly, the best way to describe his performance is that of a college kid who has to give a presentation but doesn't know the course material.
Jealousy will get you nowhere.
One thing that really surprised me when rewatching this movie is just how boring it is. It's right at 2 hours long, but it feels like 4, and a big reason for that is because it's full of characters that you don't care about. That's especially true in the case of the human characters, all of which, including Mark Wahlberg, are incredibly forgettable, but it's also true with the ape characters as well. Now, I'm not going to pretend that the original 1968 movie is a work of high art, because it's really not. In fact, it's pretty rough in a lot of ways, but despite all of that, the main ape characters have very interesting motivations and character traits. The characters of Zira and Cornelius are ape scientists who are bound by a sense of duty to find out the truth regarding the astronaut Taylor, even though that searching for that truth will destroy their careers and alienate them from the rest of society. Dr. Zaius, on the other hand, is a wealthy and powerful ape who knows that there's more to the world, but refuses to let any of that information be known to the public because he knows it will alter their society forever and potentially lead him to losing his power that he holds over that society.
Dr. Zaius, Dr. Zaius. Dr. Zaius, Dr. Zaius. Oh, Dr. Zaius.
Dr. Zaius, Dr. Zaius.
With both of these examples, we're given characters that have clear-cut motivations and clear-cut obstacles, which allows the audience to become invested in if they succeed or fail, live or die. But in the case of this movie, we don't really know anything about the ape characters at all. We know that they hate humans, but we don't know why. They just do. We don't know why Thade is a dick, but he just is. And we don't know why Ari wants to have sex with Leo. She just does. If we don't know anything about the characters, we can't connect connect with them. If we can't connect with them, we don't care about them. And if we don't care about them, they might as well not be on screen.
Dr. Zaius, Dr. Zaius. Oh, Dr. Zaius.
And finally, the set design is bland and uninspired, and honestly, it looks like a cheap community college play. It's all obviously on a soundstage that's been dressed with fake plants that you can get at Hobby Lobby. The Ape City is very claustrophobic and looks like it's made from foam and plastic, and even when we leave the city, they're just in a brown, drab desert for the rest of the movie. In the original, yes, they do walk through a desert, but they make the most of it, giving you different angles and interesting rock formations to make it look like the typography of an alien planet. However, they also make use of other locations full of lush greenery and waterfalls. They give you something to look at while at the same time making the world feel more tangible and real. But there's none of that in the 2001 version. Even the space station, where normally set designers can have fun and really stretch their legs when it comes to the look of the future, everything is just gray. So, at the end of the day, would I recommend this movie? No, not at all. It's just not good. It's not even so bad it's good. It's a bland, forgettable, painful to get through movie that has earned its place as one of the worst remakes ever made. But thankfully, we do have 3 really good Planet of the Apes movies that you can see on Hulu. If you have seen them before, there's still a lot left to enjoy. And if you haven't, check them out. I don't think you'll be disappointed.